SRO, uh, Sa-Dhan is required to collect data and submit to Reserve Bank of India on a regular basis, which all of you know that. That is the responsibility of an SRO. So we do collect data from you and we compile the data and send it to RBI, and that is how we had been doing it so far. And most of the time, what we used to do is that we used to have a Excel sheet of sent to you where you put your data and send it back, and that data is getting compiled. So it's a more of a physical nature of submitting the data. But now the time is changed. People are moved into digital mode. So we are still can't continue with the same mode, the practice of submitting physically. So we were trying to see how best we can digitize the whole thing. Of course, I don't say it's a entirely a fully digitized solution which we are talking about today, because if it is a fully digitized solution, you should have directly with through an API or something. You should have directly access the data from your system, and that should have been compiled, which is not possible because we our members are of different level. Some of them are having very high quality IT system, but some may not have that kind of a IT system. So what we thought was that we will create a solution by making use of Microsoft on Power BI, exact things and all. Sys4 will be able to tell you. So they have a kind of a solution through which we are trying to compile the data. And this data is, as I said, it's very important for us because it has to be submitted to RBI on a regular basis, on a quarterly basis, yearly basis, half yearly basis. So this data is required for that purpose, number one. Number two, it is also used for preparing our reports, which we all know that Sa-Dhan's Bharat Microfinance report is the one which highly in demand and highly valued by by the sector. Mostly can others put off the mics? Can others put off the mic, please? Yeah. Please put off the mic. Kindly make up put off the mic. So what I'm trying to say is that so one is to submit the data to the RBI on time, number one. Number two is also to prepare reports like BMR, Bharat Microfinance Report and Quarterly Microfinance Report, which are sent to the stakeholders, investors, the government, to the RBI, to the various stakeholders, RBI, SIDB, NABARD, everywhere we are sending these reports and they depend on this data for their own analysis. If you see last year, this year I didn't see that. If you see the last year's the economic survey which the government of India submitted in the parliament, placed in the parliament, they quoted data from BMR. Similarly, in several places, the data of BMR is quoted, and how this data is quoted, collected, reported. It's basically we have collected the data from you, and we have put the data there. So you should have a proper system of getting the accurate data so that RBI reporting will be perfect and our reports will be also will be perfect. So that's the reason we wanted to digitize this. And as I said, we did not go for a very high level digitized solution because of the various capabilities of different institutions. So what we have done is that we have developed a product which is quite a good one, and it reduces some of your drudgeries, some of your monotony. But then you still have to put in the data in that, input the data, but then some kind of calculations and all takes place in the system itself. So this is how the solution has been worked out. I'm not going into the detail of that because the right people are there, and we have got the support from one of the leading technology company from South, from Bangalore, Sys4 Limited. So they have helped us in developing this product, this solution. So they are also there with us. Melvin is there from there, and Ayush is also there. So they will be telling us how this solution to be made use of. Our team is also there. Nandi is there. Sunny is there, who also worked very relentlessly for developing this product. So thank you all, Sys4 as well as our team. And I now hand over to Nandi and team for taking it forward. Thank you. All the
Thank
best.
you, sir. Thank you for your opening remarks. I'm going to kind of familiarize about the tool and onboarding process. For that, I request the Cisco team, particularly IUC is there also, to start, start kind of giving the standardize the tool to the participant. I sir, you can take over from here. Yeah. And
Thanks everyone. Thanks, Sa-Dhan team for organizing today's session, and a big thanks to Gigi sir for setting the tone for today's session. We truly appreciate all the partners and teams who have joined us today. To start things off, we will first walk you through the process we'll be following in the application. So this will help us to better correlate with the application that we have developed. So once we understand the process that will be following in the application, we'll be able to better correlate and understand how the application works. So this will only take a few minutes before we actually delve into the actual application. So over to my colleague Ayush to take it forward. Looking forward to a productive session.
Thank you so much, Melvin, for the handover. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. I know it's a busy schedule, and we'll just be quick with this, and we don't want to take up much of your time. So, from my team, we have, of course, Melvin, and we have Ranjit and Sneha from the Cisco team, who will be taking you through the entire process, the entire journey of a QDCS and an ADCS. So basically, I think first we will start off with the small deck that we have created to introduce you to the process. I'd like my colleague Sneha to please share her screen and then just walk everyone through the process and introduction. Thank you.
Hi team, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Today I will walk you through the Sa-Dhan application. So hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
And before we start, I would like to request you all to please feel free to stop and ask any questions or if any clarifications are needed. And
Participant proceeds, yeah. Yes,
I will be yeah. I will be presenting the following agenda. So here we have the registration process, MFI login, QDCS process, and ADCS process. Now let's begin
You
with the
can also
first topic.
tell what is QDCS and ADCS. QDCS is quarterly data, and ADCS is the annual data.
Yes, sir.
Data collection C and ADCS is annual data collection. Means it's collect annually and PDCS is quarterly, quarter basis.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So proceeding here, now we shall begin with the first topic, that is the registration process. So here we have first the Sa-Dhan team who will initiate the MFI onboarding. So once the Sa-Dhan initiates the MFI onboarding process, MFI maker will receive an email notification with the portal URL. And one on click of this URL, portal URL, they will be navigated to the registration form where the MFI will then have to fill in all the required details for the registration process, and then they will be submitting it to the checker. So once this process is done, the checker shall review all the data submitted by the maker and then submit it to the Sa-Dhan team for the further process. So here the post the submission of registration, Sa-Dhan shall approve the registration process, and following the approval, the MFI will receive an email containing the login credentials and the portal URL to access the application. Upon the click of portal, the MFI will now be once they click on the portal, they will be redirected to the application of the login screen where they can enter the credentials to access the application.
Okay,
So, if
just I'd like to stop you, Sneha. Just for a brief introduction to the registration process here. So, as we have moved into and not from an Excel, we are requiring the MFI to do a one-time process of registering into the portal. Now, this will enable the MFI to get or gain their credentials for them to fill in the data for the quarterly data collection sheet and the annual data collection sheet. So this entire process begins with the Sa-Dhan team. They will be initiating and they will also be choosing who is going to be the maker and who is going to be the checker for this particular process. Once the Sa-Dhan team initiates it, the maker will receive an email notification with a link that they have to click, which will redirect them to a page to enter the details for that particular MFI, submit it to their MFI's checker. The checker reviews the data, sees that okay, the data is all correct. They can either make changes to that data and then submit it to the Sa-Dhan team. Sa-Dhan team again goes through the details of the MFI and either approves it. Now, after approval, after you have been onboarded onto the digitized system that we have created, you will be receiving an email. So the maker and the checker for that particular MFI will be receiving an email with credentials, user ID and password, and a link to the portal. Now, we will show you this in the demo. For now, I think Sneha, you can go ahead and then move on to the next slide.
Yeah.
I hope
So
this
if no
part is
doubt,
clear to everyone. This is only to onboard you to the portal. Basically, it is that all the members who all the institutions who are giving data to us, we initiate them by onboarding them onto the portal. If any doubt on this is there, please ask us, make your questions.
This is going to be a one-time process. This is just the first time when you are using the application, you will have to be onboarded. After that, there is no more onboarding. You will have the
But subsequently, if there are change in the maker and checker, that changes will be happening with with the support of Sa-Dhan.
yes,
Isn't it, Ayush?
yes, it is.
Yeah. One time, the first time when you register, you would be giving the maker's details, checker's details. Based on that, the registration takes place. But subsequently, if there are changes happens, which we know that many times this happens, again you will have to take the support of Sa-Dhan team to put the credentials of the new persons.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, say there is also a situation where the MFI requires multiple people to fill in the data. The MFI organization requires, let's say, 5 to 6 people to fill in the data. They will be receiving a link on their email. That link can be shared along with the credentials, and using the credentials, they will be able to log into the portal. Which please don't demo. This is just an introduction. Sneha, you can go ahead and move on to the next slide. We
Please
won't
go
take
ahead.
much time.
yeah. Yeah. The screenshot here that you can see here presents the DCMS home, like the email notification. The first screenshot is the sample email which the MFI shall receive along with the credentials and the portal link. So upon like the second screenshot in this slide shows the login page of an application where the MFI shall log in using like this is the registration. So first we have an email where you will get like the portal link, where upon click of that portal link you will navigate to the second screenshot, that is the registration form. The next screenshot in this slide is once the registration is completed, so upon the approval, so here you have the sample email where the MFIs will receive an uh, email, so where, along with the credentials and the portal. So along with the credentials which the MFIs have received, upon click of this portal you will be navigating to the landing page, that is the home page, like where you can enter the credentials of the Sa-Dhan. So here you have the checkers, like you have the maker's credentials along with the password where they can enter and which they will have an access to the application. So moving on to the next slide. So this is the DCMS homepage. So before like as we have told how the login page looks like, how the credentials I have received. So we can move on to the demonstration of the application, which my colleague Ranjit will take over to show you how this registration process would work.
Yeah. Ranjit, I think you can take over and then just demonstrate this entire process. Sneha, could you please stop sharing your screen so then we can. Yeah.
So yeah, just before proceeding, I think Ayush sir, you can also mention like I think there's some confusion also among MFIs, like if there is a single maker or checker, like in case there are in some MFIs there are multiple maker and checker, they can also access the same like filling the data. If there are multiple makers, they can still access that portal for submitting the data.
Correct. So in such a scenario, let's say there are two scenarios here where one MFI will have a particular maker and checker who will be the same person, which will be configured during the onboarding process by the Sa-Dhan team itself. Now, this they will of course get credentials in the email. They will be able to use those credentials and log into the portal. Now, the second case, in case there are multiple makers and checkers, the email, the link can be forwarded to the different makers and checkers of the MFI, the same link and the same credentials will be used to access their portal.
So you're saying that for an institution, there will be only one maker credentials and one checker credentials,
Which will be unique amongst all
isn't it?
for one MFI. I hope that's clear. Sorry, sir.
Yes, we can proceed.
Yeah.
No. Confusion or is there any confusion?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, you could please ask. We'd be happy to help out.
The screenshot that you can.
Hello, go ahead.
Yeah, Ranjit, you can take over.
So, hello everyone. I want to continue with the process of registration. This is the particular mail that you will receive when you provide your email to the Sa-Dhan team. So, by entering that, you will receive this particular email, which will consist of a link that will navigate you to the portal. So this is the registration form that will be visible when you click on the particular link that you have received. So there are some fields that the MFI has to fill. So example, like let me fill it up, name of an MFI. And there are legal forms such as NBFC, MFI and NBFC private limited.com. So the user can select according to their legal forms and headquarters.
So this is the page where the maker will first receive, and the maker clicks on the link, fills in all the details, the general details, the CEO details, CFO details, compliance officer details. All of these details are filled by the maker first, and then we will show you the process that happens after that. So, yeah.
Sir, please show the options in legal form.
Yeah.
Drop down, please show the drop down.
There is a small arrow now in that legal form.
Drop down, please show which are the options available.
For legal form, it's a top of page.
Upper. Yeah,
Yes,
that
yes.
one. That one you just show what are the different options available in the
Yes.
drop down.
Just give us a second. Yeah, you can see the now
All types are there. NBFC, MFIs, private.
No, sir. No, sir. Problem is there.
Ah.
NBFC MFI is also a private limited company. Then what they should choose? I mean, options should not be like that. So I am talking that NBFC MFI is also a private limited company.
Those are
Okay, private limited company. What we'll do is that we'll put a bracket BC company. Okay, it is basically we were thinking of BC companies only.
Yeah.
So what you can do is that we can correct it to private limited company bracket BC companies.
Right.
So, Shankar sir, whichever private limited companies till now were sharing the data and mentioning private limited company, they were exclusive BC. Like there were only no.
That's right. To make it clearer, see somebody has a doubt. Let's put a bracket. Put it BC.
Yeah. Yes, sir. But sir, one question, those who are engaged MFI, they are getting easily, they are from the drop down menu, na? So they are obviously not private limited company. Because reason will make it actually more clear, no issue.
Yeah. Ranjit sir, you can proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can put some XXX. You don't have to put everything. Why do you want to put? Yeah.
So throughout this demo, we will be using just sample data. Of course, we will not be using any real data. So just to give an introduction about that.
So, and the last field in the registration where you have the checker details, where the MFI that who gave their email ID in the initial can enter the checker details that they want to be like used hereafter. So there was a scenario where some of the small MFI who doesn't have both the role, that is this checker and maker, to overcome that thing, the maker can give their same email ID for checker as well, so that it works as a double authentication once they submit it. So I have given my same credential what I used for maker and as well as for the checker. So I'm submitting it. So once after you're submitting the data, there is a message that displays that data has been submitted for the checker's approval. So there will be an email that the checker will receive. So this is a particular mail that the checker will receive based on whatever data you have given in the checker field, and there is a link below to review the registration form.
So once the maker has submitted that details, what happens is they are sending it to the MFI's checker to review the details and then submit it to Sa-Dhan team for final approval process. So what happens is once the email, they click on the link, they will be asked to enter your email ID. So the checker, once they sit on the system, click on the link, this page opens. Now they have to enter their own email ID. This is a form of a validation we have given so that not a different checker cannot come and validate the information. The checker that was mentioned by the maker will only be able to verify the details and submit it to Sa-Dhan for approval. Now, what Ranjit has done is he has mentioned his own email, which was the checker email, and now he will continue the process.
So on click of submit, there is a verification saying that email is accepted. So once you click on OK, so all the data that the maker have entered will be displayed over here. So the checker can verify it or even can change the data. And then submit it. So this is how the registration process works. And after this, there is a process for the Sa-Dhan to approve this particular registration. They have an option to send back and even reject the registration process. If the Sa-Dhan approves the registration process, the maker and the checker will receive the credentials to log in the portal.
So now so this is where the process for the MFIs have stopped. So the registration onboarding process is done. Now the Sa-Dhan team comes into picture where the Sa-Dhan team reviews this information that was provided by the MFI. They will check on what is the data, is that okay and everything, and they will either approve it or send it back for corrections. Now, once they approve the onboarding data that was provided by the MFI, the maker and the checker will receive an email like this, saying that congratulations, you have been successfully onboarded as the maker for Sa-Dhan DCMS portal. You also have username and password along with a portal link. On click of this link, they will be redirected to a login page. And these are the credentials that the MFI will use. So, any questions so far?
If anyone has any doubt, they can speak up, like just raise the query here. So they are just basically explain the registration process, and once the registration process is completed, the concerned MFI will receive credential access, that username, password, and the link to log on to the portal and start filling that QDCS or the annual data.
I hope this is clear so far. So we'll just move ahead and now log into the portal using the credentials that the maker and checker have received. Ranjit, you can go ahead and log in.
So once after you click on the link that you have received, so this is the landing page, and I have some temporary username and password. So let me log in with that. Once after successful login, there is this tab section which consists of guidance notes, QDCS forms, ADCS forms, and option to log out. So guidance note, there is all this description. When you click on it, the descriptive wise data will be displayed. So this will be helpful for you to fill the QDCS form and as well as the ADCS form.
So this is nothing but predefined guidance notes that are set by the Sa-Dhan team, and these are the information that will help you in filling the QDCS form and the ADCS form in case you have any doubts or queries regarding any particular fields, which we will show you in the future process as well. Now, if we click on the home screen, yeah. So now once we click on the home screen, this is just the home screen, the landing page of the maker when they log in. Now, I'd like Sneha to take over the session again, and we'll move ahead with the QDCS process, which is our quarterly data collection sheet process. Yeah, Sneha, you can just share your screen, and then we can give an introduction on the QDCS process. Yeah. Sneha, you're on mute if you're speaking. Just unmute.
So moving on to the next process, the QDCS. So here we have finance and operation, which comprises of 1 to 6 sections, state-wise, district-wise, quarterly CGRM, HH income and indebtedness, insurance, shareholdings, and ownership. And the screenshot in the slides, we have the QDCS list overview having like all the related menus in the left hand side. So here we have like the finance and operation as demonstrated in the previous slide. We have finance operation state wise, district wise, where on click of any of the menu required, they will be navigated to that particular form.
Okay, so now this is nothing but just the detailed view of your QDCS form. Here, the MFI, once they click on, we will show you a demo, so please don't worry if you have any questions. This is just a screenshot of the instance. We will show you that the MFI maker will go ahead and navigate to their screen, and they will click on QDCS, and they will see the initiated forms that they have to fill and submit to the checker. So Ranjit, if you can take over the session.
Yeah. For information of all the participants, QDCS is nothing but it's a quarterly data which we are collecting. So it is quarterly data collection sheet. So ADCS is annual data collection sheet. So don't get confused about that terminology.
Yes, sir.
So I have already initiated some QDCS. So let me click on this particular QDCS, that is QDCS 1009. The financial year is mentioned over here, start date and end date, as on date, and the status of it. So initially, when a QDCS is initiated, that is when it is a process where the MFI has to fill the data. And there is once after filling the data, there is a process where they submit it. So it has submitted to make checker. And after once the submission of checker is done, it shows submitted to Sa-Dhan. And that is how the process like works on. So on clicking on the particular QDCS, there is this finance and operation sections, which consist of subsections of 1 to 6, where the MFI has to fill. So starting off with the particulars, the name of the MFI, state headquarters, legal forms, all those things will be directly displayed from the registration process that the MFI has made, and delivery model. There is an option to give the breakup in percentage as well. And next section will be most recent rating information. Date of rating, validity date. CEO details, CFO details, complaints officer details, all this will be displayed from the registration process itself.
These fields here that you are entering and submitting are nothing but the same fields that were part of the Excel that you had previously updated. Now we have just digitized it in such a way that you can enter the data onto the system. And we have also given a few validations where the mobile number has to be a 10-digit number and so on and so forth. We will show you a demo for that. Yeah.
Then the maker details and the checker details will be displayed. Once filling up all the details, the MFI can click on save and go next in order to move to the next page. I hope there is no doubts in the first section.
So this would be basically the maker filling all the details, like after the registration process is approved from Sa-Dhan side. Like just to recap, they will be receiving that credentials for logging onto this QDCS thing. So once they log in, then this kind of interface would open and the maker can start filling the details like profile of the MFI and the same things like operational data, financial data, everything. So this is from the point of view of maker side. The maker side of the particular MFI is entering the data. And once that data is submitted, like as Ranjit will be showing, walking you through. So after that, it's submitted to the checker for approval, and then it would be finally submitted to Sa-Dhan for review. Yeah. Ranjit sir, you can please continue.
Thank you, sir. So in the section 2, there is this particular header says profile of MFI. So the input field is number of staffs at the beginning of the quarter. That is, this as on dates will be displayed. So it will be helpful for the MFI to fill at that particular time range. So let me give it as 100. And number of new staff recruited during the quarter, 50, and number of staff left or dropped during the quarter. Here there is a calculation that is performed, that is the sum of number of staff at the beginning of the quarter and recruited during the quarter minus the number of staff dropped during the quarter. And that particular value is displayed in the number of staff at the end of the quarter.
So basically here what we have done is to reduce the number of data that the MFI should enter. We have manually, digitally calculated all of these values and they will get auto-populated in their particular respective fields. So this will just reduce the number of data to be entered.
Yes, so I said, sorry to interrupt, like one participant, Mr. Lokesh sir was saying, like instead of MFI, it is written MLI. So basically, we are using the term micro lending institution to encompass like all kinds of MFI. There are different types of MFI there. So we are using the word micro lending institution. So it's not like some kind of error, it's just an acronym which you have made, micro lending institutions. So it encompasses all types of entities who are carrying out microfinance operations. Yeah, yes, sir. So you can continue.
So, I
Yeah,
want to say something. I will tell you, Actually, when you're putting figure, just put some wrong figure so that there is some pop-up will come, they will know it, we are not putting wrong correct figure. Otherwise, it is almost prone to them, we are doing data every quarter.
Yes, we will show the validations that we have given into the forms so that the MLIs can understand it much better. So Ranjit, you can just move forward. We will show that.
So moving on to next field, it has like out of number of staff, enter the number of loan officers. So number of staff at the end of the quarter is 125, and if I try to enter more value than 125, there is a pop-up that is displayed. So number of loan officers cannot be greater than number of staff. So these way, most of the validations are implemented. And number of branches. And collection of person through cashless or digital mode. When they try to exceed the value more than 100, another validation will be displayed saying that value cannot exceed 100. Please enter a valid percentage.
Actually, that 100 is the number of branches. When you have only 50 field staff, how can you have 100 branches? That is it.
So moving on to loan accounts and borrower details. So number of loan accounts for microfinance loans under on-balance sheet portfolio, let's say have given 100. The number of loan accounts for only non-microfinance loan under on-balance sheet portfolio, 100. So the total number of loan accounts under on-balance sheet portfolio is a summed up value of these particular input fields. Same way is applied for the below two input fields also. So that is this loan accounts for microfinance loan under off-balance sheet. These two fields are for on-balance sheet and these two is for off-balance sheet. So total value is displayed over here, and sum of these two fields, that is this total number of loan accounts under on-balance sheet plus the total number of loan accounts under off-balance sheet portfolio. Sum of these two values will be displayed in total number of loan accounts under gross loan portfolio / AUM. So moving on to next field, number of active borrowers for microfinance under on-balance sheet portfolio. The same logic is applied over here also. That is for on-balance sheet, non-microfinance and non-microfinance for on-balance sheet. So some of these two will be displayed in the total field. Same way for the below input field also. And then some of these two total input will be displayed here in active borrowers under gross loan portfolio. And next is number of active borrowers. And there is another validation stating that the number of active borrowers for BC under off-balance sheet portfolio cannot exceed total number of active borrowers under off-balance sheet portfolio. And moving on to next field, that is loan portfolio outstanding. So on balance sheet microfinance loan portfolio in INR and to that particular as on date, and on balance sheet non microfinance loan portfolio in INR.
Okay. Also to add to this point, now all the values where amount is mentioned, where you have to mention an amount, the value should be given in an absolute INR value. You cannot give 2L or 2CR or anything like that. You have to give the entire value in INR for these particular amount sections. So there is a validation that way.
And just I would like to add in, like for easy reference, instead of going back to the guidance sheet, also you can see small I buttons against each field. So Ranjit, can you yeah, wherever it is, so it's for easy reference, like what exactly we mean by that particular field we are asking. So that explanation is there, like it will, there's kind of a pop-up. So if you just place the cursor over the I button, the explanation would come exactly for that field, whether it's for portfolio or borrowers or like disbursement, anything. Wherever that I button is there, you can just place the cursor and like that explanation would also be there.
Automatically put the figure.
Yeah.
So no need to go back to the package right every time. That is an easy kind of reference for you.
Sir, you can continue.
I hope this after this is no question. I think clear, very clear. So far, actually, we have explained so far. Is it?
Please feel free to ask any questions at any time. We are here to help. We just want to make this process as easy as possible.
Hindi we are accepted. No issue.
Bengali.
Continue, Ranjan. You can go ahead.
And yeah, like moving forward, there is this BC portfolio and securitized and assigned portfolio. Share of portfolio of bank financial institutions under co-lending arrangement models in INR. So here there is another validation. The sum of BC portfolio, securitized and assigned portfolio, and co-lending portfolio must equal off-balance sheet portfolio outstanding. So it's 200 whole year off-balance sheet portfolio outstanding. So this is how the validation works over here. And once after filling all these details, the MFI can click on save and go next. Any questions?
Any questions so far? Can we move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Ranjan. Thank you.
So third section is credit risk, PAR on gross loan portfolio slash AUM, that is both on balance sheet portfolio plus off balance sheet portfolio. Here there is this two input fields where that is one is principal outstanding overdue amount that is calculated on PAR greater than 1 day, and there is this percentage field that is auto populated based on the value that you have entered in the previous sections. So
Ranjit sir, yeah, I'd just like to join in. Yeah, like all the I think members are already aware, like they're sharing this kind of data already in form of a Excel sheet. So basically, we are asking the par on like your gross loan portfolio, then on your off-balance sheet portfolio, and then within the on-balance sheet portfolio, only the microfinance portfolio. So we always request like to give the par in descending form. Like the par one should include anything any amount overdue which is over 1 day. So most of the MFIs I think are now submitting in this fashion. So we just request while you are entering like on this online tool also. So just enter in descending format. Like the par one should include all the overdue amount greater than 1 day. So you can see as Ranjit sir is also just inputting dummy values like one kind of pop-up would come in.
So when I try to change the value of par greater than 30, that is like, let me give 8. There is this particular pop-up saying that par 30 days should be greater than par 60 and par 90 days, par greater than 180 days and less than par greater than 1 day. So this particular pop-up will be triggered on each input when it doesn't follow the descending order on base and in the par percentage value, it is calculated against the off balance sheet and that particular value is displayed in the par percentage on each and every input their value will be getting calculated. So fine. So last table is for the off balance sheet.
This,
and
but particularly for PAR on the only microfinance portfolio within the on-balance sheet portfolio. So this, I think, Ranjit sir, MFIs are already sharing this data with us in the Excel format. So I think they can easily relate. The only thing we wanted to highlight here was like whenever they are giving the amount overdue, it should be like in descending form. So PAR one, like it's already mentioned here in the bracket also like par, what do we mean by par one? Like if any amount overdue greater than 1 day. Yeah. So the percentages, as you can see, is being auto calculated. That's another like added feature based on the values entered in the section 2 of that gross loan portfolio and off balance sheet portfolio. Whatever amount you are entering as overdue, that percentage would get auto calculated. Because also earlier good figure actually the yes. Your actually requirement of it means if you look into our headline, based on that you just put the figure. Yes, sir. Sir, you can proceed, please. Yeah, I think no issue. I believe this is very clear.
Once after filling the data, they can click on save and go next.
Section, right?
Yeah, and moving on to the fourth section, that is loan disbursement. Number of loan disbursed for on-balance sheet microfinance loan portfolio and number of loan disbursed for on-balance sheet non-microfinance loan portfolio. So let me enter 100 and 100. Then sum of these two values will be displayed in total number of loan disbursed under on-balance sheet portfolio. The same way is applied for the below two input field also. So the sum of these two will be displayed in total number of loan disbursed under off-balance sheet portfolio. And here, during loan disbursed during the quarter is sum of both on-balance sheet portfolio and off-balance sheet portfolio.
And during any time of this process, you have any doubts, you can just hover over the eye icon to be guided accordingly. So it should not be a problem. Continue. Next.
So next, there is this validation where sum of loan disbursed must be equal to total number of loan. So here, number of loan disbursed in rural areas, semi-urban areas, and urban and metropolitan areas. So this has to be the sum of these two should be equal to the total number of values that is entered.
Some of these three, yeah. So basically, it should be equal to 400, like as mentioned above, total number of loans disbursed during the quarter. So we are here asking breakup of loans geography wise, rural, semi-urban, and urban and metropolitan.
Any doubts so far?
If anyone is having any kind of doubt, they can just ask, like pause and ask during the meeting. Yeah. So whichever cells are highlighted in gray, those particular cells are getting auto calculated. And those in white needs to be inputted by the data.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ranjit, you can go ahead and fill the data.
The same validation is applied for here also. So that is 20 plus. So sum of these three input fields should be equal to the total amount disbursed during the quarter.
Yeah, you can.
There is another pop-up saying that the number of amount disbursed through cashless mode cannot exceed the total amount disbursed during the quarter. And moving on to next section is NPA provision and write-off. So here the write-off value is calculated based on the values that is entered in the write-off amount field divided by the gross loan what you have entered in the previous section plus the write-off amount into 100.
Here again, the grayed out fields are going to be auto-populated and should not be entered by the MFI.
Same way for the net NPA amount on balance sheet portfolio also. The net NPA amount entered, that is 113 divided by the gross loan value plus the on balance sheet amount into 100.
Ranjit, just tell me one thing, like whatever we are filling the data, where it will get stored?
So basically, to answer that question, the data that you are submitting here and saving here will get stored in a database for the Southern team to view. Once you have submitted to the Southern team, they will be receiving that data and they will be either reviewing it and approving and closing the particular quarterly.
So database is directly given to the Sa-Dhan team, not to the any of the, like you are the third party for Sa-Dhan team or for us also.
So the Southern team will be able to view it in the database, and you will also be able to view it through this portal.
No, that is what. No, I got your point. Like Sa-Dhan team will. The concern is database, like database where the data will store from the backend data. I'm asking.
The backend data is stored in a database called the Dataverse. This is part of the Power Platform, the system, the technology that we have used to create this particular application.
So what is the privacy of the data?
So, yeah, go ahead, Ansh.
Yeah,
You want to answer that question?
yeah. So basically, the privacy is that only the MFIs, I mean, the persons who have the credentials or the login credentials from the Southern team will be able to view it. There is no other. So we have given an organizational business unit level access to that particular database. So this database is not going to be open throughout the tenant. It is just open only for that particular DCMS application which we have created.
But tell me how whatever we are filling, it is going to restore the data in your server also, no?
No, it's a cloud actually. It's a cloud,
It's a cloud-based.
managed by the Microsoft.
Okay. So there is no third party intervention
No,
on
no,
that.
no, no. It's a cloud owned by Sa-Dhan, managed
Okay.
by Microsoft.
Fine. Okay. And if maker can have fill the data, can checker can able to edit the data if he wants to edit anything?
100%.
Yeah.
So once the maker submits it to the checker, checker can view all the pre-filled data by the maker. If there is any changes to be made, the the checker is 100% available to make changes to that data and submit it to the Sa-Dhan for verification and approval.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. You can continue.
And yeah, on moving on to the next section, that is balance sheet items. So total assets, risk weighted assets, net assets, average assets. So there is this validation saying that average assets cannot exceed total assets. This is one of the validation that is implemented. And tier 1 capital, tier 2 capital, sum of these two value will be displayed in the total equity. And average equity, the same validation is applied. Average equity cannot exceed the total equity. Next is total funding liabilities, net owned funds, outstanding borrowing excluding securitized assigned portfolios. And moving on to the next section, that is profitability and financial ratios.
But sir, I have a question.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Go.
Yeah, in your previous field, you are showing that average assets cannot be greater than total assets.
Yes.
How it is being calculated? If the previous year assets are more and now it is lower, average may be a different one.
Yes, Pantun, you are right. If there is last year figure is high, then the average should be more than the total asset.
Yes, sir. If last year is 200 and now it is 100, then average will be 150.
Yeah.
How can it be cannot be more than total assets average?
Santanu, as you told, actually, yes, you are right. You are going to change it also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
No, Nandi, Average asset is calculated, is it month-wise?
So, sir, average is last year asset divided plus this year asset divided by 2. Okay. If the last year figure is quite high, then average will be high, na, sir?
No. I'm only saying that is it month-wise or we are calculating month-wise, quarter-wise? What is the regularity we have suggested?
Month wise, supposed to be provided. That is mentioned in guidelines.
So if we are giving a quarterly data, month-wise average will be for the 3 months. That will not exceed more than your the total assets of that
Yeah,
quarter end.
yes, sir. That also can be happen.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah, if you are taking say January, February, March,
Uh,
and by assets is gradually decreasing,
okay.
then 100, then 50, then 25. The
Oh, so
average,
drastic reduction is there.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Then we'll see that validation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. We have noted it down. We will look into it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And once after MFI fills all these particular details, I can click on save and go next to the next section. So next section is funding composition. There is just two division that is made. That is for one is for the equity and next is for the borrowing details.
See, all these informations we had been collecting on an Excel sheet earlier. That only we have digitized. We were not asking anything more than what we have been collecting earlier.
Exactly.
Maybe some more granularity we have suggested, but some more details we must have asked for. That's all.
So here, the calculation is performed as the amount entered over here divided by the total assets, which was entered in the fourth section. So same way it is applied for the borrowing details also. So the amount divided by the total assets. So these are the details that was mentioned for this particular table. So I don't want to. Can I move
Just
forward to
basically,
the next section?
funding file is the received during the quarter and as on date we are asking. So we can just show them and proceed.
Because it's as it is that PVC seat,
Yeah,
in
in
regular
Excel form.
basis. Nothing new in this regard, only just
Yeah.
details, nothing.
Yeah, so moving on to the last section of financial and operations. Next is the income and profit. Here, the total income is calculated based on the values entered in these five fields. Income earned from on-balance sheet microfinance loan, off-balance sheet microfinance loan, non-credit financial products, non-credit non-financial products, and income earned from any other resources apart from the ones mentioned above. So moving further, operating profit, net profit, and income and profit for cumulative dates.
So one, we are asking during the quarter, income on during the quarter, and one is as on date.
Yes.
Moving forward, next is the other section, the weighted average cost of borrowings, weighted average operating cost, maximum interest rate charged to clients on on-balance sheet portfolio microfinance loan disbursed during the quarter, and minimum interest rate charge, weighted average interest rate charged to clients. Next section will be collection status during this particular time period. Next is individual loans. Moving further, we have a co-lending model arrangement. This is a table where the MFI has an option to add multiple rows, and they can delete it if not required. So they can mention the name of bank. So next is business correspondent, BC. So once after filling this particular section, the MFI can click on save and go next, which will redirect them to the state-wise data. And this particular table also has an option to add multiple rows.
Yes.
So moving on to the state-wise data. Here, as explained before, a state-wise data, the MFI will have an option to add multiple states and option to delete it.
So in the previous process here, you would get all the particular states, all the states mentioned, and you have to fill in data for against each state that you are operating in. So here, to reduce the, if unwanted states, we have mentioned an add a new row feature. So here you just have to mention, type in the state's name and then the respective data for that particular state.
So here basically like in the Excel sheet, we are just asking the breakup of like number of districts, branches, portfolio, disbursement. Like for example, if any MFI is having operation in 3 states, so they can just click on that add row and include 2 more rows and then mention the name of the particular states, yeah, where they are having operation. And then they can give up the, like if they have total of 1100 branches, so they can give the breakup of that 1100 over 3 states like that. I think it is known to them. Yes, already. Yes.
Is there any auto check that total disbursement and portfolio is matching or not?
There could be a pop-up like if in case some MFI has entered some different value apart from the value mentioned earlier. Like for example, your branches is I mentioned of 1500 and here the total is coming 900. So Rajat sir will just show you a pop-up will come just mentioning yeah kind of validation error. He just please ensure the dummy figures entered here matches the one entered in section 2 and 4.
Yeah, we will show you that pop-up message.
So I have noted down all these values. So number of loan officers, what I've entered is 50. So let me change it and try to click on save and go next. This particular pop-up will be displayed, saying that all these particular fields values should match, and above mentioned fields are present in the QDCS section 2 and 4. You can refer to that particular section and then fill this particular form. And on clicking of add a new row, the value what you have entered, the total will be auto calculated, and the total value and the value that you have entered in the section 2 and 4 will be verified, and then only then it allows you to submit it.
See, means what using same in Excel base actually. Same as it's just I request you to fill data with your in the September data or December data, and if something some difficulties or some problem is facing, you just let us know. And or anything to be changed, that is also we are actually need your kind of guidance or help so that we can change accordingly. right? Because it takes the tool with your either septum data or decimal data, whatever possible partners.
Yeah, you can move ahead.
So once data saved successfully will be navigated to the district wise, which works same as state wise data. So here you have to enter the name of state and name of the district as well. And some of the values that you have entered should match the values that you have entered already in the section 2 and 3.
So here Anchit is just entering the values that were filled in your FNO sections.
And there is this another validation where the minimum value cannot be greater than the maximum interest rate value that is charged. So moving further, next section is the quarterly CGRM. So here there is a set of 6 questions that the MFI has to either check it as yes or no. And the next will be the tables that stores interest rate, excessive charges, recovery practices, staff behavior, staff fraud, disbursement details, credit bureau report, credit linked insurance settlement, and others. All this is an input field where, for example, let me enter value of 12 in all this section. The sum of these, all this will be displayed, the total will be displayed at the below, and same way goes for the other input field as well. So here, the number of complaints received during the quarter, it calculates the sum of it. Same way for complaint resolved during the quarter and complaints pending during the quarter. But for average TAT of complaints received in the quarter, it calculates the median of um, this particular data. Yeah.
Same as.
So similarly, you can just go ahead and fill in all of the data for all of these different CGRMs. Now you can scroll down, and if you don't have any data in any of these sections, it's not mandatory to fill.
Yeah, they're already providing us like subcategories of the complaints received and resolved during
This
the.
one you can mention something, yeah, actually, comment.
So this is an additional feature, like if MFIs, they want to give any feedback or suggestion with regards to their GRM or anything, they can mention here. Yeah, type it out here.
So this is just a generalized comment box where, yeah, as Southern team suggested, that you can give any comments if you have in this particular text box. You can go down. Yeah.
Next table is location of maximum number of complaints. Here, the MFI can enter the state name, district, and name of the branches, total complaints received, and specify the reason of maximum complaints.
Hi, Arush. Just one doubt, one clarification.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Is it possible to import the data through any Excels into the portal? Since we are collating data from different departments, various departments of various data points, so we will be receiving various data sets from different departments. So, entering all the departmental data into the portal manually instead of this, is there any facility to upload the Excel templates into it?
Currently, there is no such provision where you can upload an Excel template because we have just digitized the system in where we have to manually enter it here into the system. There is no Excel upload as such currently.
Okay, so is it possible to give the access to different various departments for entering, inputting the data?
Yeah, you can provide this. You're talking about different
Various makers,
various.
different makers.
Yes. So you just share the link to the other makers, and with the credentials, they will be able to log in, and then enter.
So at the end, one or two checkers will be there, and all others will be standing as makers.
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yes.
And
Yes.
what about, is there any system will record what the maker will is doing, or at the end only the system will take the final data only, right?
So the checker will be verifying the data first and then submitting it to Sa-Dhan.
Or only after the submitting, the entire final data will be pushing to the final end, right?
Correct.
See, there can be
Okay.
multiple makers, but the checker has to be
Yes.
one.
Checker has to be one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
And then that is a center point from where the data is pushed to Sa-Dhan.
Understood. That is fine.
Yes.
Various makers is possible, right?
So using the same credentials, various makers can put in the data. Only thing is that checker has to be single person and it has to be sent to Sa-Dhan.
So you're telling that we can create one credential for all makers, right?
Yes.
Now you can have multiple makers with the same credentials.
Credentials. Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
So only after the checker reviews the data and then submits it, then the data is finalized.
Yes.
Yeah. So here we have also.
Ayush, I was also suggesting to Melvin in between that initial step which you said, about the onboarding, where you are saying that maker will give the details of the maker and checker and submit it to Sa-Dhan for approval.
Yes.
I was telling that should be changed to someone senior level, some CFO or CEO or CEO. Somebody should be the one who should be giving the names of who are the maker, who are the checker, and then the data can be pushed to us. Okay.
Okay. Fine. Understood. I'll have a talk with
Yeah.
team. We'll see what we can do for that.
And one more thing, since several makers are there, is there any row level security is given to any to the maker level? Like makers need not necessarily be looking into the figures of others. Like financial operations need not be the maker, one maker not required to be looking at the financial operation figures or like CGRM figures, etc. So, is there any row level securities arranged in that maker level? I don't think so.
Currently, it's not there.
It's not there.
Yeah.
That's why I said.
Okay. So the entire data is possible to be visible to everyone, right?
Yes, that is within your organization only, na?
Yes.
And that's why I wanted the checker to be only one person, because whatever the data put in by different people, At least there should be one person who should be able to validate whatever is being put.
The problem is that once one maker has done something to one data, and the other, when it is going to the other maker, that other maker would alter the something that is one has done already. So this will not again go to the first one. So at the end, there might happen some kind of alterations in the initial data that has already been done. If it was done in Excel, we might be collating the Excel reports from different various makers altogether to the one checker, and one checker will be collating it. No collation of data will happen.
No,
So
but
in
is there
this
anything
case,
wrong if your own organization people sees the data?
and there is no problem in seeing the data, but one maker is
Alteration.
filling the data, and the alteration might happen to the next one without getting the consent from the first one. So
Got
if
it.
there is some kind of any restrictions on the already filled data, some alterations means if one maker has done any filling into one particular field, that should not be changed from any other person, or other than the checker. If any kind of restrictions are there, yeah, it will be much better. Like from the checker side, checker might not be able to understand in-depth figures from one side, means one department. That's what.
Ayush, anything
Please
we
see
can do on that?
if anything is possible.
Ayush, anything we can do on that?
We'll just look into it and we'll give.
What he's trying to say is that
I understood the row level.
one maker, whatever is put the data, another maker should not be able
Row
to.
level security can be arranged so that the checker can give the row level security to the makers, different makers, so that different makers can enter only their data or alter only their data.
Yeah, I think that we'll do. We
We'll
will work out
have a look
something.
into it and we'll give it.
Check if it is possible, and if it is necessary, you can do it.
Sure.
Okay.
Can we continue? I mean, any other questions? So here I wanted to just highlight, we have a section to add additional complaints. Let's say you have any additional complaints that you want to mention. You can select what type of complaint it is and then given the respective fields for that. So this is just an additional feature we have given. You can move ahead.
Here, what Ayushar is trying to explain is like this staff behavior and like other type of complaints, like we are having, for example, related to interest rate, additional complaints. So we had mentioned some subcategories within the interest rate. If that subcategory is not mentioned in that particular heading, so you can again add here that complaint related to interest rate, excessive charges of staff behavior, which was not listed above, the options which were there above. If it was not listed, so you can list here like what additional complaint is related to interest rate, staff behavior, excessive charges, like that. You can continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
So next will be HH income and indebtedness. Here, there are these two tables that is displayed, and so let's say that indebtedness level is less than 20%, more or equal to 20%, but less than 30%. So I'll enter value as 12, and at the right corner, there is the sum of that value displayed, that is this 24, and the percentage of that will be displayed in the same corresponding field in the below table.
So the percentages are getting auto calculated. All we were asking is the breakup of number of loans disbursed during the particular quarter on microfinance loan portfolio. So this already the MFIs are submitting. The only additional thing is the table below that in terms of percentage, which is getting auto calculated. The MFIs need not calculate anything from their side. Yeah, they are already providing the breakup of those loans disbursed. Yes, auto calculated. First table they have to fill, the second table will auto populate by itself.
Yes. So here, I just want to add actually, because all the participants is here. Most of the actually, means this is fine, but some cases we found there is mistake. When we are giving the breakup, there should be, can you go up?
First table.
First table. Go up. Yeah. So here it's clearly mentioned number of microfinance loan disbursed Not all loans, only the microfinance loan under online credit. That is breakup. Only on balance sheet microfinance loan breakup we need actually.
So one tooltip also given just to
There's a mention
ensure.
very clearly rate.
Yes.
That breakup we need actually. No other data. Okay.
For example, out of 5,000 loans were disbursed, only 2,000 were disbursed for microfinance. So basically, we require the breakup of 2,000 loans, not the total number of loans. Yeah.
Not amount, only number of loans.
Number of loans. Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
can proceed to the insurance part. The MFIs are clear on this part. No issue.
So next section will be insurance. There is this two section, that is credit linked insurance and other type of insurance. So these are just the regular input fields that the MFI has to enter. And there is this types of insurance that is mentioned: health insurance, accident insurance, and all those details. So
Yeah, so you can fill any all of these data, and then you can just click on save and go next.
So next section is ALM, assets liability management. And here we have two sections, that is, one is for assets and another is for liabilities. Both the sections consist of the total values, which is auto calculated. And for example, let me enter 5. And the total of that will be displayed in this corner and in the below as well for all these particular. So some of each rows will be calculated. And next is the liability. And the sum of the liabilities also will be displayed over here. And next is total equity. Total equity, let's say, let me enter value 2. And next is total liability and equity, which is an auto calculated field. That is total liability, the value is 12, and total equity, it is 2. So 12 plus 2, 14 is displayed over here. And next is the assets minus total liability plus equity. Here also the value is like auto populated. Assets 35 minus total liability plus equity, that is 14, and we get the value as 21. And last is the funding requirement and loan disbursement details. And some of that will be calculated over at the end. So once after the MFI fills all this data, they can click on go next and move forward. And the last section is shareholding and ownership. Here there is a notification mentioned that says that stakeholders having at least 10% of stake, and there is an option for them to add multiple rows to it. And when I try to enter the percentage which is less than 10, there is this particular pop-up displayed. And when I exceed 100 also.
So what if the stakeholder has less than 10%?
Yes, sir, you are trying to ask something.
Yes, I'm asking that if a stakeholder had less
less than 10%. In our organization, all of the stakeholders have less than 10% shareholding. And what we can do?
Sir, we are just basically asking the shareholder details for having stake above 10%. Because what happens in some cases, some MFIs have large number of stakeholders, like 0.01%, 0.05%. So the list becomes very exhaustive. So we are just at the moment collecting the details of shareholders having stake above 10% to simplify it. This as per the requirement of the RBI, they only asking the at least 8% stake. Okay, that's why I'm not taking all details. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Fine, fine. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now the final step here is to submit it to the checker. So now the maker has finished entering all the data. Now this form will be submitted to the checker for the checker review. So what happens here is the QDCS process for the maker is completed, where now the checker comes into picture, where as we showed you earlier in the email, the checker will also would have received a similar email with their checker credentials, username, password, and a link. The checker uses that link, logs into the application, and sees this particular data and submits it to Sa-Dhan for approval. That is the end of the QDCS process. Now, Neha, if you could share your screen, and we'll move ahead to the ADCS process. We won't take up much time now. ADCS is also basically your annual collection data collection sheet. Now, IDCS process is also it's almost the same process where we are filling in the data, submitting it to the checker. The checker is submitting it to your Sa-Dhan team. Now we'll just quickly show you the ADCS process as well, and then we can conclude. Just give us 2 minutes. I think Sneha is also sharing.
Yeah. Moving on to the ADCS process for MF5. Here we have ADCS section. So here we have 1 to 8 section for ADCS. We have state-wise data and district-wise data. So once the MFI submits the data and fills in all these details, it will be submitted to the checker, where the checker will review all the data submitted by MF5 and will then submit it to the Sa-Dhan. So once it's submitted to the Sa-Dhan shall approve the complete ADCS forms which has been submitted. So moving on to the next slide. In this slide, we have the ADCS list overview. So in this list overview, we have the list of ADCS, and here we have the different colors of ADCS, where we can have the list of ADCS with the unique number, and also the color here indicates the different status. So here we have the sort by option, where you can completely sort the ADCS list either from new to old or old to new based on the start date. And you have the filter option. In this filter option, you can filter the list of ADCS based on initiated, submitted to MFI checker, submitted to Sa-Dhan, approved and closed, sent back, and expired. Also, you have the search option, where you can directly search for any particular ADCS based on the number. So you can also have that option available here. And towards the left, you have the menus which you can navigate to. So you have homepage, like the guidance note, the ADCS form, and the QDCS, and the logout option, where on click you will be navigated to that particular screen. So this is about the list overview. And moving on to the next, that is the form overview. This is how your ADCS form would look like, and it would comprise of the 8 sections. And also towards your left, you have the state-wise data and the district-wise data, which you can navigate to upon the click of that particular option available towards your left. So any doubts that you have for ADCS, we can pick that up.
Can we move ahead to the demo?
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah. Ranjit will share his screen, and we will show you the ADCS process as well. It's very similar to QDCS, so it should not take much time. Give us a minute.
Yeah, and moving on to the ADCS, I've already initiated one with the ID ADCS 1006. So on click on it. So ADCS consists of this three sections, that is ADCS forms, state-wise data, district-wise data, and subsections of ADCS forms will be 1 to 8. And name of MLI, state, headquarters, and legal forms will be same as how it is used to be in the QDCS, which is auto-populated. And here there is an option for most recent rating information where they can add multiple rows, and grading information is code of conduct assessment undertaken. When you click on it, there will be a table displayed, and top of that you can add multiple rows and enter the values to it. Maker details and checker details will be auto filled already based on your registration as how is it in the QDC.
You can just fill data and we'll move to the next section. It's very similar. It's the same process, just some values would be different. That's
So there is a validation where you can't enter the future dates.
It should not take much time.
Yeah, this process is basically the
The
same.
same as QTCS they did actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're already aware.
Finally, actually, we are there moving data and Excel base, so I think no need.
They are very
much
familiar
time
with
is
this.
there. Just introduce us to what is
Yeah.
again.
You
yeah.
can
So I think Ranjit, you can just go ahead and fill in all the data. It's the similar data itself. We can
Yeah,
just fill in all the data and then we can.
actual data and the grade fields, as earlier mentioned, would be auto calculated.
Yeah.
White fields needed to be filled or inputted.
Exactly.
Yeah. And some
You have the similar validations here as well.
Validation process they are already performed.
So here there is another validation where total of women employees and loan officers cannot exceed the number of staffs. That is, some of these two fields cannot exceed the total number of staffs at the end of the year. And number of loan officers cannot exceed the number of women loan officers cannot exceed the number of loan officers. There is this another validation. And if your institution is participating with Equifax Employee Bureau, uh, there is this toggle option for the MFI to click on it. Uh, Same calculation like how we implemented in the staff details. The same thing is performed over here. Number of branches at the joining at the beginning of the year, and added during the year and closed during the year. So sum of these two field minus this, the values will be displayed in number of branches at the end of the year.
So Ranjit will just fill in all the data and we can move to section number 3. Here you have loan account and borrowers. Just fill in the data. Auto populated and auto calculated as you've seen in QDCS.
So here the percentage of scheduled class minority and percentage of differentially able and percentage of OBC borrowers should be equal to 100. And there's another validation percentage for borrowers having BPL cards where they cannot exceed more than 100%. And moving on to loan portfolio. The sum of these two fields displayed over here and the below fields value are displayed, and some of these two fields which is grayed out value is displayed in gross loan portfolio slash area. Here there is another validation where sum of percentage of GLP under JLG lending plus GLP under lending plus SHG lending, individual lending must be equal to 100.
So, Ranjit sir, this is basically saying you can just enter some values and proceed. Like this was basically in the QDCS form also. We're asking same breakup of portfolio disbursement and other things.
Sure. We'll just enter values and we'll just proceed to the
Sure,
next.
sure. And as previously mentioned that I buttons are also there against some
Yes,
page
exactly.
of easy explanation. So you can refer to that also.
And just go ahead and fill in all the data. We'll move.
So here also, like as previously mentioned, QDCS, we are just asking like that par on gross loan portfolio of balance sheet and on microfinance portfolio in descending order, right? Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, continue.
So here in section 6, just the funding profile is asked. Like the amount received during that particular financial year and amount outstanding on the financial year ending.
Yeah, continue. This is our last section in the ADCS, section 8. So now this will take you to again state-wise and district-wise data. Now similar fashion, like you filled in QDCS, which is a quarterly data collection sheet, you'll be filling it here in ADCS as well.
Yeah, right. So again, here like just to provide like MFI is supposed to provide the breakup of like portfolio disbursement over different states, like wherever they are having operation, we are just asking breakup of that particular field as on that particular date. Yeah.
Similar fashion, if the values do not match, here it will show you the pop-up where you have to just go and review all the fields. We're just checking the data that we have entered and then we will submit it. Okay, you move to district, guys. Same way, similar fashion here. From state-wise, it will navigate to district-wise, and once the MLI fills in the district-wise data, entering the state name and the name of the district. Uh, Here again, we have done it in the same fashion we did it in the QDCS form, where we are asking for the input from the MLI to give us the data for each particular district. Now, you can just fill in the data here, and the final process here will be submit to checker. This is for the maker. The maker will fill in all the data, submit to checker. Checker logs in. Checker opens the record and sees the data, verifies the data, and submits it to Sa-Dhan. So here is where the process for the MLI finishes for that particular quarter or for that particular uh, annual ADCS collection sheet. So far, any questions from the MLIs or Sa-Dhan team? I think that's about sums it up for the whole process.
So as the Cisco team, yeah, explained the process for filling these data for QDCL, ADCS is basically same. So if anyone has any queries or any doubts, they can ask now. So we'll do one thing like we'll also issue some like registration fees to the MFIs like MLIs. So they themselves can like do that registration process like Ayush sir and Ranjit sir showed. Like you'll be receiving a link, that registration link, and once you fill the registration form, then the all the details which you fill will go to the checker, and once the checker approves, like we'll receive for approving, and once we approve, then you'll receive the username and password for logging onto that portal and start filling the data. Like the data would be entered by the MFI maker, and once they fill that data, it would be submitted to the checker. So you can fill it with like the already previously submitted quarterly data, like for September or December 24. You can fill those figures here and just see how is it working out, and if you have any feedback or suggestions, you can just like mention to us. Or you can talk over phone also. Yes, yes, you can call us back, and if there is any scope for any improvement, like if we can add or remove any field, then we'll be much obliged to be. Sir, before end of this, sir, these are, if you have any comment on this, means you are going to close, if there is no question from the participant.
So I think that's it from our end. Anything else required?
So any question or any doubt so far, fine or not, please, without any hesitation, please tell us so that we can clear it right now.
So, the checker has any rights to alter the data if you find something wrong?
Very properly.
Your voice is little audible.
We can't hear you properly.
Yes, sir. The checker has any rights to alter the data or he sends back to the maker?
The checker has the rights to
Hello?
alter the data.
Of course, the data submitted to checker is for validation only. Like if somehow like by mistake that MFI maker has entered some wrong value, like for example, your current outstanding is maybe 550 crores as of that particular date, but by mistake he has entered only 500 crores. So the checker has every like access to make alter or modification to that data before submitting to Sa-Dhan. It's like a two-step verification process. And the entire thing is for that only. Like the data submitted by the MFI is correct. So we'll
Thank
anyway,
you so much, sir.
we are sending that registration link to the MFIs, and like as requested, the MFIs can submit like the already previously submitted quarter data in those this online form, and if they're facing any issue or like as mentioned, if there are any feedback, they can definitely get back to us and mention, yeah, over call or over mail, whatever works out. So I think that's it. I think we can conclude this call, and we'll be sending like that registration link shortly to like all the MFIs. And we request you to please try it out, like because next quarter onwards we are planning to collect the data through this online tool only and not through that Excel sheet. So it's like very much like we would be beneficial if you could try it now, just with some sample data of like previously submitted or quarterly data.
Or December data already submit that data, you can means you can check it.
Just see, yeah, if we are facing any problem or any suggestions from your side or feedback.
Even if any suggestions they are for
Right.
further
For improvement, yes.
we need to accept it because it's not a final still now. Okay. So with that actually, Sunny, from your side, I'm expecting a vote of thanks, please, after concluding.
Yeah, so thank you for everyone for joining today, like for taking up time. It was almost like over 2 hour session, but thank you for patiently bearing with us. And I would like to thank Cisco team also, Ayush sir, Ranjit sir, Sneha, Melvin sir, so for explaining it well and in a very easy manner. So I hope like as suggested, we will be initiating that registration link. You will try it out and like whatever is feedback is there, we'll hopefully receive it from your end. So thank you everyone for today's joining call.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we are expecting your feedback as well as please fill the data and check it how it's working. And if any difficulties or something wrong is coming, accordingly you can change it. It's not yet final. Okay, that is our request to you. All
Yeah,
of you.
sir.
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
just one thing, sir. Just one thing. Sir, in the district-wise data, it's shown. We have around 380 districts around. So
Yes.
filling every district's line by line, it gets very difficult to filling every districts one by line, one by one. Okay, so it is very advisable to put some facility for bulk uploading of the data in some bulk fields.
Ayush, any
Yeah.
suggestion? Melvin?
So currently there is no bulk upload available, but we have to
Okay.
look into it and we can give you a feedback in a an update regarding this.
Yeah, thing is that 380 districts data, we if it was in Excel, it is in one go we can do that. So if it is in, we are filling one by one for 380 districts, the data of 380 districts, and each column, 380 districts into number of columns, number of data fields. It comes around more than 1,000 number of fields. One person has to fill in every field. So it seems like very difficult.
Understood.
Can we work
This
out
is
something,
one
Ayush?
constraint.
Can we work out something on bulk load?
Yeah,
Bulk
yeah. We'll have a discussion.
At least for the bulk data, at least for the bulk data, like district wise, state wise kind of thing.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Not for everything.
We'll have a look into it.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Okay,
sir.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Sa-Dhan team.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Melvin, Ayush, and
Yes.
We are here, sir.
yeah. So, two things I have a suggestion. In fact, three suggestions. One, as I discussed with Melvin, that initial registration, the information of the checker and maker should be given by some senior official, which we can think about who it should be. Okay, number one. Number two is that can we have maker for section wise? See, there are some 8 or 9 sections we have. For each section, can we have a maker? If it is the same maker, we can give an option of having all same. If different makers are required for different sessions, can there be a possibility of having different makers with the same credentials? You don't have to have different credentials. That can be generic credential for the institution, which can be passed on to all the makers whose details are given there. Is it possible? Number three is that's upload part. This upload of at least the district-based data, district-based or state-based data.
Okay. So give us some time, Gigi sir. We'll discuss internally and come
Sure.
back to you. Maybe
Sure.
we'll give you an update as soon as possible.
Sure. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I think we are good
Nothing
from our
from my
side.
end.
Yeah.
Okay. Chalo then. Nandi. Okay then. Thank you. I'll log off then.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.